I did a video yesterday taking a walk down to the War Memorial. There is some salvageable footage from it that I may put up, but what happened was when I watched it back, like the first half of the whole thing had my thumb in the camera, and that makes me rage quit. So I gotta remember right hand, hold it with the right hand path, avoid left hand path, left hand bad, right hand good. Tying it into metaphysics. I saw this morning on Poll, as I usually check there for news, because it's the only place where it's sort of unfiltered. People just posting information, and you know they'll meme on it, shit post about it. You get all sorts of different reactions to it, but the information will be there, like the crypto thing that happened this morning or yesterday, something like that, you know. So I've been noticing that while this subject would occasionally come up on X, I saw it today on Poll, and I was like, wow, you know, people really are starting to ask this question because of the behavior of their fellow citizens or people, that it's they're starting to wonder, what are these, who are these people? Because like there's something going on as far as a difference between a lot of people and those around you, or it feels like there's quite a big difference. I've been talking about this for a few years. My theory, the one I have currently, and subject to change, of course, with new information, as is everything, you know. I believe what they are, and one Anon kind of hit on it, is that they were created for this system when it was more of a school. And to facilitate tests of divine beings, which is what we are one divine being, you need to have other characters that look like you to get into whatever, like an interpersonal kind of test, or to make you understand something about yourself. So these people were created as just sort of like what NPCs would be. Just kind of a stock person that only has so many things to choose from that they can do or say. And it's like it is like a legit NPC type of situation. I call them like system tools, as opposed to me, who's just a tool. So at one point, in my opinion, this place stopped becoming a school and instead turned into a farm. However, the farming that goes on, they still use all the tools of the system as far as to try to increase depression, sadness, anxiety, all the things that make for a better farming experience for energy, loosh, whatever you call it. So just like they still use the tools that existed from the inception of this system, this God that God created, those tools are still being used. And looking at some of the other possible tools of the system that have always been here, they're cranked up. They're cranked up to 10. I mean, I think there was probably different levels of severity that at one point they could have used to try to teach us. But now that it's turned into a farm, all the tools have been cranked up to 10, so that's kind of made this area more like a torture chamber, where they're just squeezing the energy out of you, you know? So in the same way, all the other tools are being used to the fullest extent. I think the people-making tool is being used to the fullest extent. And in fact, it's cranked to 11 so high that the volume of these things is much larger than the actual people here with divinity or some connection to God or the progeny of God. Whatever God is to you. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. The iconography that goes along in a Christian setting or a Catholic setting, which I was raised in, could is likely designed to turn you off from investigating divinity or investigating your connection to God. It's presented in such well, it's a disingenuous way, of course, but it's also an unattractive kind of way. It's, if anything, it chases people away from it. You know, the idea that you're being watched every time you masturbate, and every time that happens, you're going to hell. Or just as an example, it is No Fap November, so I guess I have that on my mind. But but I think that these people are out here to mainly become like obstacles to you. Well, they have a lot of functions. One is to try to guilt you or shame you into doing things that the system wants. They'll always do what the system wants. They're system tools. So when something comes on the TV that tells everybody to do something, or not even TV, people don't watch TV anymore, something in media that tells them like there's a Godzilla on the loose or something. As ridiculous as it might sound to you, to them, they would take the Godzilla attack very seriously and try to shame you and force you into also making whatever preparations are necessary to fend off the Godzilla attack. So they're used in that way. Also, they're, like I said, used to just be obstacles to annoy, you know. And I think that's the majority of the beings you see out here. So they're not real in that way that we are. Now, you got to treat them the same. Because one thing that's held over with this test from before is that it's not about passing or failing. It's not about passing the test or failing the test. You can't fight the beast. You can't beat the beast. It's all about your behavior during the test. So of course, you must treat everybody, regardless of their divine status, as you would want to be treated yourself. Just do the right thing. You know what the right thing is. You know, I know this culture tries to push the gray area thing. And a lot of occultists will tell you right away that, first off, there is no good and evil. It's like, all right, so what you're saying is that makes it okay for you to fuck kids, then, basically. That's what that clears the boards for. So there is good and there is evil. It's not this gray area. So they always kind of try to push that gray area where the enlightened adept is beyond good and evil. That's certainly not true. People know what is right and wrong. You can tell if you have divinity. Now, if you don't have divinity and you're a system tool, well, then you have no empathy because you have no connection to divinity. And that's where you see those news stories of women driving their kids into lakes and killing them all, or people that torture animals. When there is a lack of empathy, there's a lack of divinity. That's an easy way to spot them. And there's an easy way to spot people with divinity as well. And I'll get into that more in a little bit. I just want to get out of the rain for a second here. But don't blame the teacher, blame the school.